Why do we buy what we buy? Is it just the fit of the jeans, the smell of the shampoo, or the taste of the coffee? Or is it something deeper? Well, today we're talking about the art of selling a feeling and why the most successful consumer brands aren't actually selling products. I'm gonna show you how brands like Supreme and Olipop use psychology to shape perception and why the future of marketing is shifting toward a new opportunity, something I call brand integrity. Look at Supreme. It's not just hoodies and t-shirts, okay? It's a global streetwear powerhouse. And Olipop, guilt-free soda that makes you feel like a kid again. These brands are selling feelings that allow you to step into a new identity. Belonging, exclusivity, confidence, health, happiness, nostalgia. So why do certain brands make us feel something that's even more valuable than the product itself? Hey guys, Sam here. I'm an agency owner and entrepreneur, and I've been helping emerging brands scale to consistent 10K plus months for over 10 years. Now, I grew up in the shadow of Madison Avenue. My dad was the real life Don Draper. So I got to spend my childhood watching the masters at work, and I watched them figure out how to pull on human heartstrings. And I was just thinking the other day, do you remember how we used to buy stuff? I mean, if you needed a t-shirt, you went to a department store or maybe like a local shop in your neighborhood. Maybe you bought it in a catalog or something like that. And if you wanted to drink something that was healthy, you drank water from the tap. So what changed? Well, before we can answer that, it helps to go back to the beginning. And I'm talking like early 1900s beginning, when marketing was very straightforward and very simple. A company would say, here's a product, here's what it does, and here's why it's better than the other guys. Cold, logical, functional. You needed soap, you bought soap. You needed to make clothes, you bought a sewing machine. And the features and the specs mattered, but it really just came down to, can this get the job done? No branding, no story-driven copy, no emotion in the marketing. But then came a man named Edward Bernays, a controversial figure to say the least. He was the master of spin, who was really the first person to apply human psychology to advertising, and he used it to shape public opinion. Now, he understood that people buy feelings, and we all step into identities through products. And he really changed marketing as we know it, for better and worse. And I remember my dad telling me this story about how Bernays was brought in to help boost the sales of Betty Crocker instant cake mix. They did a focus group with the target market, the American housewife, and discovered that these women felt this kind of unconscious guilt for using a product that required so little effort to make. I guess it just chipped away at their view of themselves as the perfect homemaker. The answer? To give them a greater sense of participation by requiring them to add an egg to the mixture. I mean, this was genius. The original cake mix formula already had egg in it, but they took it out so they could give housewives that feeling of purpose, like they were still taking care of their families and not cheating. So this removed the barrier of guilt, sales soared with the symbolic egg, and this also allowed the American housewife to remain steadfast in her identity as happy homemaker, who from time to time enjoyed a guilt-free way of making things a little easier on herself. What Bernays understood was that it wasn't about the cake mix. It was about identity. And there's actual neuroscience behind this. When we make a decision, like really any decision, the emotional part of our brain is what fires first and shows up. We decide emotionally, and then we use logic afterward to justify that decision. Your brain does not care about features. It cares about feelings. And today, with the internet and digital marketing, we're seeing brands take this to a whole new level. So let's look at Supreme. Supreme is a wild story. I remember when they opened up in New York City in the 90s. It was this cool store downtown, and I mean, it was always a cool brand, but they made skate decks and sold skate clothes, and that just really was not my thing. But somewhere along the way, they figured out the real value was in the logo. And now that logo, that red box with the white letters that says Supreme, is a symbol of something so much bigger. And whenever they put it on something, it just like transforms the meaning of this thing entirely. It doesn't matter what it is. And the logo is the star because whatever they put on it becomes gold. And people will line up in the streets for hours at a time and drop thousands of dollars just to get their hands on it, whatever it is. Now, when you take that logo and you combine it with scarcity and limited drops and limited quantities, I mean, it's like, you got to know somebody and you got to know where to go and when to show up and what to say. You've got to be in on it. And that is marketing genius. Supreme released a brick, an actual brick with a logo on it, and people lined up around the block to buy it. Then they turned around and resold it for thousands of dollars. There is literally, right now, at the time that I am making this video, a white t-shirt with the Supreme logo on it sitting on the GOAT website right now for $785. Now, I think what Supreme understood really, really well is that they're part of a subculture. And that subculture is kind of like being in a private club. So they positioned the brand almost like a way to gain membership or access to that club. So when you wear Supreme, you're saying, I'm in, I get it. I'm in on this thing. I'm part of something exclusive. I mean, why do you think hypebeasts were so into it? Because you belong to something most people couldn't buy their way into, no matter how much money you have. And that's a feeling worth more than any product ever could be. Olipop disrupted the entire market. They took gut health, this like boring, clinical, unsexy category, and made it super fun. And the entire brand identity is just built around nostalgia. From the design of the can, to the vintage inspired flavors, to the tagline, the taste that takes you back. I mean, it's perfect. The whole brand just exudes warmth and humor and retro vibes. And it's crazy because when you look at a can of Olipop, you're not just looking at soda, you're actually taken back and you start thinking about your own childhood with their flavors, with these nostalgic names like root beer float and Shirley Temple and banana cream pie. I mean, whenever I see one, I'm like, I really gotta try that. And it's easy to forget. These are actually pretty healthy too. Oh, and you just know their Instagram's gonna be great. The packaging was made to be posted. You scroll through their feed and it's just all these gorgeous retro colors and vintage inspired kitchen scenes, people having fun, remembering childhood when life was simpler. Right now, they actually have this really cute video on there, and it's this mom standing at the refrigerator, and she takes out an Olipop and opens it up, and as soon as she takes a sip, she's transported back to her 80s bedroom, and she's this teenager laying on the bed, and there's all this 80s memorabilia around, and the 80s colors, and it's totally perfect. The bottom line is, when you drink an Olipop, it just makes you happy. And maybe you're the kind of person who cares about their gut health, but maybe you're not a stereotypical wellness person. But what both of these brands figured out was the same thing. People don't just want products. They want to feel something. They want to connect with an identity and be seen a certain way. And if you can make your product the vehicle for that, you've got something that almost sells itself. So where is all of this heading? Well, there's good news and there's some dark news. On the dark side, we're entering an era where brands can use AI and data to get really, really, really good at targeting our emotions. I call this micro-level personalization. And that might sound really cool, but it's a whole other level of manipulation. They're not just figuring out what you like anymore. They're figuring out exactly which story, which feeling, and which identity will make you buy. And they can do it at scale in ways that actually still feel personal. I mean, take The Summer I Turned Pretty. Amazon now has this thing called an X-ray feature. So you're sitting there watching the show, you hit pause, and this little like sidebar thing comes up on the screen. You like Belly's dress? Great. You love the song that's playing in this scene? Cool. One click and it's yours. You're not watching a pretend lifestyle anymore. You're shopping it in real time. It's crazy. The friction between I want that and I have that is like virtually gone. The feeling becomes the product, becomes the purchase. That is the future. And by the way, Amazon, in its infinite sneakiness, does not advertise this feature. It's like it just showed up overnight, and that is intentional. They don't want you to notice it. They just want you to mindlessly click add to cart. The problem, as brands get better at emotional marketing, it gets harder for us to tell what's real and what's just really good manipulation. I mean, look at greenwashing. Tons of brands are just jumping on this bandwagon, suddenly talking about sustainability and the planet and non-toxic. Why? Because they know we care about it. But how many of them are actually walking the walk and putting their money where their mouth is? Method? For all of their beautiful design that emits feelings of cleanliness and conscientiousness and eco-friendliness, they actually got hit with a multi-million-dollar class action lawsuit for false advertising. Why? Because their non-toxic claims didn't actually hold up to the ingredients in the bottle. Now, on the brighter side, consumers are catching on. We are way savvier and way smarter than we used to be. And now, back to this new opportunity in marketing, that thing I was calling brand integrity, well, we are in a new era. Consumers actually care about where their money is going. They want to choose brands that align with what they believe in. And it's not just about the product anymore. It's about whether the brand's values actually match yours, whether they're being real with you or just manipulating you. So on the other side, you've got a company called The Farmer's Dog. The product they're selling is fresh dog food. The feeling people are buying is peace of mind. And the entire operation is built around the idea that dogs deserve real nutrition, not mystery meat and fillers. And they're very transparent about their sourcing. They show you the farms. They tell you exactly what's in each recipe because it aligns with their promise. And the emotional connection they're creating is with dog owners who are investing in their dog's health and longevity. The Farmer's Dog actually delivers on their promise. Alignment between what they claim and what they do. That is brand integrity, and that's what keeps people coming back. The next time you reach for a bottle, a sneaker, or a limited drop, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really buying here? Am I connecting with this brand beyond the product because it genuinely aligns with me or because the marketing is really, really good? The line between entertainment and marketing is almost completely gone. There's not much that you can do to stop that, but you can take care of yourself by paying attention and asking questions. The brands that are going to win long term are not playing games. They have brand integrity and the feeling matches the reality. But you know, there is a dark side to all of this, and it's something that we just don't talk about enough in marketing and advertising. What happens when brands are built on lies? What happens when the personal brand you trusted, the one that promised health, wisdom, or transformation, becomes corrupt? If this is something you want to hear more about, then you need to watch the next video because we're going to be looking at the betrayal of trusted brands like Deepak Chopra and Dr. Peter Attia, and how the shadow of the Epstein files stretches so far, it's even corroding the very foundation of modern marketing. We're going to take a deep dive into why it's becoming harder than ever for brands with actual integrity to build trust, set themselves apart, and how you can survive the fallout. So I'll see you over there.